What is up, guys? It's your boy Jay-Z Bottom Lip, and today I wanted to talk about the method of learning a new character high level. We can say this on a casual level as well. I also wanted to say that this is a video that a fan or a viewer recommended, and I told them that I would do this video. If you guys have any type of video that you want me to cover or anything in particular, just let me know. I don't mind covering anything. So, I also work right now and I do a lot of other things as well. So I'm making this video a little late. It is 10:31. I have 2 hours and then I have to go to sleep. So hopefully I can make this video and do the best I can, basically. And I hope you guys enjoy it. There are two ways to understand or how to learn a character, and the two ways that how to learn a character is you can go based off of the lore, right? Or you don't, because sometimes NRS for whatever reason likes to change it up. So one thing you can learn is that from the previous games, how did Quan-Chi play? And then on top of that, what type of person is Quan-Chi in the lore? Quan-Chi is a spellcasting type character. He's also played at a range. He's also very 50-50 heavy, setup heavy, because he wants to pull out the bat in MKX. He wants to pull up the portals in MK1. We also can understand that Quan-Chi wants to make you guess, not only because he wants to pull up his portals and do a whole bunch of 50-50s. You can look at this by his move list or his normals, right? So he has a string that is double overhead. And since he has a double overhead, he also has a low. And since he has a low, he can go high, mid, low. High, mid, overhead, low. He can go high, low. He can go high, overhead, overhead. Or just that. So he has so many different ways where he can mix you and consistently make you guess. And there's two ways that he can consistently make you guess, is by ending this in every interaction that he does, or he can end it in this, or he can even end it in this to make it safe, because this is not safe. And this is something that you have to understand as well when you're learning a character, is what is safe and what isn't safe. If we go to Quan-Chi's move list and we look at his normals, we can see that he has a startup of 8. Most characters standing pokes, which would be square. Your standing pokes will be square and triangle. X is not really your stand poke. It's more of a kick usually. Circle and X is usually a kick, as you can see. So your two go-to buttons when it comes to your normals will always be this, like square, triangle, circle, X, and it goes the same thing for your pokes. You square, triangle, circle, X. So these are things that you have to understand when learning a character. Once you figure out your normals, you want to know what's good and bad about your normals. So there's a few things that's kind of good and bad about his normals. The controversial side of this is that all his normals are bad, but two lead to mix. So this is kind of slow for a startup. It's 12 frames. Usually everyone's stand poke is around 7 or 8 frames. So him having a 12 frame startup is pretty bad, but it also leads to mix. So it's kind of balanced, because you don't want to have a fast string where you have to consistently always have to respect him because his pokes are really fast, and then it leads into 50-50s. Since they are slow, it allows you to poke him if he wanted to start his pressure with standing triangle. So this is kind of balanced in a sense. Also, too, when it comes to understanding what's good and bad about your normals, you have to understand if you can flaws block them, if you can armor through them. These are very, very important as well. A lot of times you can armor through all Quan-Chi's gaps. You can even up block this string right here and punish him. So these are things that you have to understand about the character. Now, the reason also on the controversial side, on the contrary, I should say, is that he also, even though they are bad normals, since your opponent may know that they are bad normals, it allows you to get away with staggers. So a lot of times people will anticipate armoring through this, but if you stagger it a couple times, it gives your opponent the sense that they might not know exactly what you may be going for, what you're trying to do, or they might think that you're trying to put them in a situation where they have to guess. So again, when you do this string, they look at the armor, but if you stagger this back up slightly, try a different string, your opponent has to consistently guess. But again, we're talking about the normals. The reason being also why his normals is bad is because if you go down and you look, first what you need to know is that universally, how is everyone pokes looking? How does everyone pokes interact? So if you look at, again, if you look at him, everyone's startup is usually at a 7 or 8. Everyone has a startup frame of 7 or 8, except for Liu Kang, he has a 6. On block, it's 0. That's pretty good. Most characters are maybe like -2, -3, -5. So this is pretty good. Then universally, like I said, his is 12. Most characters have 7 or 8. Again, like I said. So this puts him at a bad, but it also puts him at a balance if you're looking at it from a different perspective. Then if you go down to X, his X is a little different. It is slow, but a lot of times you have to understand, why is it 16 frames? Let's look at it. Well, it's a tongue. And you'll say, well, what the hell is this? This also has to play a part in how Quan-Chi wants to play. Quan-Chi wants to play at a distance. We understand he wants to play at a distance because once he puts his portal up, he has access to multiple projectiles that do a lot of damage. On block, I should say. So since that being said, it's something that he wants to do, your opponent's going to want to jump. And if they want to jump, it allows you to anti-air them. Oh, I'm actually kind of close. Right? Now, let's look at his circle. His circle kicks you from behind. Now, if you walk forward slightly, it will whip, or if you just crouch, because it is a high. So there's two things to understand about this. It's high, and you also can duck it, and if you move forward, you can punish me. So a lot of times you want to use this move for two different reasons. You want to use it if your opponent are both zoning, and you get hit, you can get a trade off of the hit because you're going to recover quicker. And since you recover quicker, you'll be able to get that kick. Now, not only do you recover quicker, you both do recover quicker, but since he got hit first and yours is a little slower, you're gonna take the trade, they're gonna get hit, and then you're able to combo off of it with this. But not only can you do that, it's also to catch your opponent off guard. If they wanted to pull out Kung Lao hat, if they wanted to throw a projectile, if they wanted to do something as far as and just stand up in the neutral, you can check them with a back kick. And this is more or less just something to check them. Now they have to block. That's a lot of chip to take because you initially got hit by the first hit, and then you're going to take chip from the following because they do not combo unless you're playing Serena. You could use Serena to catch your opponent off guard, and she saves, so that's something to think about as well. And then on top of that, depending on your combo route, you can also do like this into combo wise. Hold on. I think I'm a little too close. Hold on. I just want to show you guys a cool little combo I came up with a while ago, and then we're gonna move forward. Sorry if I'm taking too long, but you could do things like this. Something like that, which is pretty cool, right? I'm going to actually try to run through this really quick, guys. I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. The next one that I wanted to talk about, what is safe and what's punishable, normals and special moves. I know we just talked about down ones being unsafe, but let's also talk about special moves. So the next thing you want to do is go to your special moves, and you want to see all this type of special moves that you have, right? And you normally want to set your opponent to block, right? Then you have to look at the distance. This is -10 up close, right? So if I did something like this, First of all, it doesn't jail, and it's minus 14, so you can punish it. So then it's like, okay, where do I use it? It's starting to make sense. I'm using it from here, it's +1. If I use it from this range, it's +7. If I use it from max range, it's +12. But then on top of that, you have to realize that it's also a high. So this is a good move to keep your opponent at bay. And then on top of that, the EX1 breaks projectiles. So you have to understand how they work as well. And then you have to look at, again, all your special moves. So my next one would be my teleport. This is my armor break. Well, not my armor break, my super armor move that allows me to get my opponent off me if I feel like they're being too aggressive. But they also can bait it and kill me for it. But again, you can also use it to blow up gaps if your opponent is overextending. So this is negative. So there's something that you need to be aware of when using it. Also, the next move is the low. It's -22. No matter where it is on the map, is always going to be negative. So that's something to keep in mind. It also might throw your opponent off guard where they might not punish it first time. And then on top of that, another thing to keep in mind is that not every character has a way of punishing it. So something to think about. I think. Let me see. This is also negative as well. So this is something to keep in mind. It is super negative. I don't know why it's not popping up, but it's super negative. I recommend not using this string. The only time I recommend using this string is more or less to basically go for setups. And I'll show you some coolest combos at the end. I'll make sure to remember to write it down so I can show you guys a little, cool combos or something like that with Quan-Chi. So the next one would be, do they have any play style where they can play up close, or do they normally play far away? We understand from the lore, and we also understand from the moves that we've seen so far, that Quan-Chi seems like he does well from a distance. So we can say that he's a zoner. And this allows you to understand, because of his normals, it also lets you understand that, like, the type of play style that you're going to be going with, which is zoning, which is spacing, which is baiting your opponent to jump, and so on and so forth. There is a few things that all zoners in every video game have in common, and their strategy and goal into beating their opponent is all similar. The next thing I will learn is, are they fast or are they slow? We understand that Quan-Chi has slow startups. We also understand that he plays at a distance, so we can say that he plays very slow, and he wants to control the space. Most of the time, zoners want to control the space. And other anime fighters, they're usually real fast, they're over oppressive. But in Mortal Kombat, we can sit here and say that they're not too fast, but they're fast enough to where they want to keep you at a distance. They normally do really well and really fast, far distance. Up close, they aren't, because a lot of times their counter pokes or their reversals are very slow. The next thing I recommend learning is what jails. Creating mix, right? And the way that you can create mix is a few ways. First, I want to tell you what jails, right? So once you initially get a hit on your opponent, it's automatically your turn, but you have to make sure you jail. I'll probably do a separate video on jailing, but I want to show you exactly what jailing looks like really quick. Jailing would be necessarily when you take a move like a down poke. Okay, hold on, bear with me. Taking a move and jailing it. This right here, jails on hit. The next following move, I'm trying to mash here and I can't. And since that jails, it allows me to go for mix. But before I go into mix, let's talk about how to understand if something jails. So if you want to understand if something jails, you have to look at what it is on hit advantage. Hit advantage is 12. Every hit advantage is a little different depending on what normal that you use. Since this one is 12, it leaves me +12, which means that anything that I have that's 12 and under on startup allows me to jail. So we can go to the move list, right? And let's say I hit him in his leg, right? And it was -12. So we can look at all the startup of the moves, right? And which are only like, you have 8 altogether, because you have square, triangle, circle, X, and you have the down poke version. So you have 8 altogether, but we're looking at down pokes. So we only have 4. So let's pay attention. So first, let's look at this move. Hit advantage is 12. What are we guaranteed? Let's look at this move. This on startup is triangle, which is 8 frames, which lets me understand and know that this is really good. So hold on. I think I'm looking at Quan-Chi. Hold on. I mean, what you call it? Okay, because I was about to say Quan-Chi does not have, but anyway, right? Nonetheless, right? So let's look at the move list again. So this is on hit is -12, or +12. So this allows me to gel my triangle, but I have to be frame perfect for it to gel. So let's try it really quick, right? So let's do this into triangle. It's gelling. I'm mashing here. After I get hit, I'm trying to mash. And the reason, you're probably like, some of you guys are probably wondering, like, what are you doing? So basically, if I don't do it right, and I do that after, see how I'm mashing? This is called considered mashing, because that's supposed to gel, but if I didn't do it right, it wouldn't gel, and I'm not. So your timing has to be on point, or your opponent will be able to mash. So if you do it right, he can't mash. Right here I'm mashing, as you can see on the right hand side. I can't. So with that being said, understanding what gels allows you to understand what you can mix with. So I'm not gonna go too much into depth about gelling and mixing, because I'm gonna do a whole separate video on that. But just for this example, I'm gonna use this, right? So after my down 1, I also know that I can use a stand 1. My stand 1 leads into an overhead, and then I also have a special move that has circle, right? So it would look something like this, right? I do this, mix. He has to guess. Once he gets hit by the initial down 1, he has to guess. That's just how the game goes. So from there, I can do squared X, which leads into a high overhead or high low. He has to guess. Boom. Then sometimes if they're mashing, they're automatically going to get hit. So that's easy combo for you, or an easy open up for you as well, however you want to look at it. Okay, the next thing that I will learn when it comes to learning the method of a character is anti-air. Anti-air is very, 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 very important. It's because a lot of times when you're zoning specific, if you're a zoner, you're going to have people jump on you. You want to be ready. You want to know what's your best anti-air. What's your go-to? Because a lot of times you can get it down too, but it'd be great if you're able to get a combo off of your opponent jumping in. I would love that. So understanding what's your go-to anti-airs. This being a good anti-air, it seems like, sorry guys. Using this will be a great anti-air, but you have to understand that it's only good at a certain distance. Why? Because the startup is 16. It's not too fast, but it's also not too slow. 16 is kind of like the chef kiss for like mix, or it's the chef kiss for like not too fast, not too slow, but also can catch you off guard. It's like right there in the middle, not just with normals, but also with using anti-airs and so on and so forth. So it's really good, but you have to be at a certain distance to really use it, because not only if you do react and see your opponent jump, it also has a startup of 16. So that's something that you have to equate into the math, your reactions, and then on top of that, pressing the button and how fast it is. You have to be honest with yourself. You're not robots. You're not going to do it initially right when they jump. So that's also very helpful is armor breaking strings. What string allows you to break armor? A lot of times in this game, there are moves in every arsonist of a character that has an armor breaking moves. And you can understand this. It takes a little time to understand. You can normally understand it by just how fast the string is, like the first hit and the second hit. How close are they together from hitting? For an example, right? If you look at Quan-Chi, right, this move, like I said, is a startup of 8, and then the second hit is 19. So it has an 8-8 frame, right? And then from here, this is 12 and 20. We understand that 12 and 20, or 12 and 20, that there's a big gap there as well. And then if you look at this string, this string right here, that's 11 and 14. There's a 3 different gap there as well. So we understand this is the quickest one. So if you wanted to use something to break armor, I would go for this string. This string is also good because it's -5 and it catches your opponent off guard. If they are at a certain distance, you also can use it to back up, and if they extend, you can whiff punish them. Hard knockdown. Do your character have a hard knockdown? Some characters, I believe almost everybody has a hard knockdown. I know that Johnny's nut punch is a hard knockdown because most of the time they usually get a free jump into pressure off of it. So that's something to think about. And then for Quan-Chi, he has this. This is a hard knockdown because there's nothing that my opponent can necessarily do. Let me see. We're going to learn this together, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing he can do. We can set him to get up a mode on, and then I want him to do the flying kick. Let me see. Shadow kick, enhanced shadow kick, right? So let's say I did a combo, right? Boom, 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 boom. Portal goes up. Okay, Johnny is just different, bro. Johnny is just that guy. But a lot of times you are able to get a setup off of the... But it's Johnny. Like, Johnny's different, man. In this game, he's a problem. He really is a problem. But I'm pretty sure I can use this string as well. Nope, can't use that string. Another thing to learn is how to keep your turn as long as possible. So if I wanted to be a zoner, right, which I am, the goal is how long can I keep my turn? How long is it going to take before my opponent actually hits me? So like if I wanted to bait this, right, he's looking for me to do the down poke, right? He's looking for the overhead, so I can get away with staggering this, backdash. If he doesn't press anything, I can backdash. Most of the time there's certain strings that allow you to give up your turn, and this is one of them. This is another one too. Once you do that string, you kind of give up your turn, so you kind of rely on staggers. Staggers are really helpful when it comes to keeping your turn. So like I said, they're looking for the low or overhead, so a lot of times they're going to be a little more patient and trying to figure out what to do. So you can get away with like at least 3 of these, or even just 2. Backdash, reset neutral. You can even throw this right up and again, start zoning again, walk in, do that again as well. You also have block pressure that I showed you. You can stagger that into a grab. Then you're back to putting your cameo up. Then you're zoning. This is all about how you want to play, and you can continuously keep your turn doing that as well. All right, the next thing I want to tell you guys is shimmy string. Every character has something that's initially good for shimmying. It can be whether it's this string or it can be this. This string is really good to shimmy with because a lot of times people are neutral ducking and they're looking for you to grab. So this kind of looks weird because he's putting his hand up slightly in front of him. So it just throws you off slightly. And that's the whole point. It's not supposed to throw you off a lot, but it's slightly enough where you think something is happening that it's not. So this is a really good string to shimmy with. Another good string to kind of shimmy with is this because it's slow. And it creates this mix of thinking that you're gonna grab them, like I said. See, so it just throws people off slightly. It's a really good string. So that's understanding like what's your shimmy string. So in my opinion, I would use this to shimmy with. I also would use this to shimmy with, and then I also would use this. A lot of times, for whatever reason, people get shimmy off of fast, high frames into mids. So like if you use a front move that's like high into mid, they most likely get shimmy into because the first one initially won't hit, so they think they can press a button. By the time they realize that they can't press a button or they want to press a button, the mid's coming in and hitting them. All right, the next thing I wanted to talk about is BNBs, bread and butter, which is your best combo. Not necessarily your optimal combo, but a combo you know you would not drop, and a combo that leads to another combo, or leads to mix, or leads to set play. It's just a combo that you can rely on no matter the situation. So a lot of times we go for these optimal combos, we might drop it and it leads to our demise. We might get blown up and die for it. So you want to come up with a combo that's really successful all the time, that you hit it. Like you're going to hit it regardless. So Quan-Chi's BNB is always going to be something like this. That's a BNB combo, right? Or, you could do something like this. This is going to be his BNB combo. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other combos you can do with this character, but you really just want to go for something that you know you won't drop. That's really the main goal. So always find a move, even if it's like with Johnny, something that you can never drop and you will always hit it no matter what. Or you can go also learning how to guarantee the round or keep the round, right? So do you have anything that's gonna basically secure the round for you? So Quan-Chi's, for an example, would be him zoning you. Once he has the life lead, you're gonna have to want to come to him, because God forbid you have like 20% health, right? Let's say that player 2 has 20% health, right? I throw this up. Oh, I meant to put him to block. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Let's see, he has 20% health, right? I do this. Right? Now he's low health. It's so much that I can do from here. There's so many things I could do as well. I can also do this and then keep my pressure going. Also too, I can even do things like this. And yes, this jails. It doesn't gel in the corner. I don't know why. It just, I don't know. NRS, when it comes to NRS games, like things is just wonky. But yes, this does gel. Yes, that gels. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I promise you it gels. Is one of my favorite strings to go to as well, because this one gels too. I mean, it doesn't gel, but it's really good for pressure, but people can duck it. So I thought of something like, what can I do in return to that? You could do that. So yes, that gels. You can also secure the round in this way. The only thing he can do is probably armor, but if you bait it, you can do that as well. You can do and secure the round. Also, another thing to do is learn what moves have gaps in them. What moves can be blown up in gaps? What moves have flaws block? I mean, flaws block gaps. What gaps? What moves have gaps where they can armor through it or up block? These are things that's very, very helpful. You can go to the move list. I'm sorry I haven't showed you guys this in the beginning of the video, and the video is kind of long now. I totally apologize, guys. My goal was to make this kind of short, but there's so much things to go over that I was just thinking about. So you can go to flaws block, or you can set it to normal, and then you can go over to up block. I think on how do I get him to block? Okay, so I guess I gotta wait for the second hit. But yeah, they can flaws block both of them too, like if they're together. So like, let's see if I can do it really quick just to show you guys. Right. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Right. You can punish it. Right. So that's something to learn as well. It's very important to understand what are your strings that have flawless blocks. You can flawless block or armor through. Understanding that also allows you to understand and bait your opponent into thinking that they can do all three options. And then I'm going to mush all these together because this video is getting kind of long. But there's a few things you want to do also too. The best option round start. Best option round start. What do you want to do? When the game says round fight, whatever it says, what do you want to initially do? If you're a zoner, I would back up. Even if you're not a zoner, I recommend backing up and baiting your opponent to do something, because most of the time in the first round of 30 seconds, your opponent is going to tell you how he wants to play or how he wants to condition you. And then from there, you can either adapt, you can abuse him, you can bait him, or however you want to play. This is what kind of separates good players from really good players, or even just competitive players from casual players. Another thing you can do is your game plan. What do you want to do? What do you want to establish? Even though you are a zoner, what do you want to establish? Ground game, or do you want to establish your 50-50 mix with Quan-Chi? Do you want to use your 50-50 moves, or do you want to frustrate your opponent and making them think that they can get in but they necessarily can't? So that's also something to think about. Conditioning. How do you want to condition your opponent? Do you want to condition them off of grabs? Do you want to condition them off of 50-50 mix? Do you want to condition them off of zoning? Do you want to condition them off of thinking that they can take their turn, shimmy in, whatever the case may be? It's very important to understand that. Then another thing is one of my favorites actually is what to abuse and what not to abuse, right? So if you're playing, this is kind of funny because it's everything is kind of situational, and the reason being is because when you're fighting right in real life, you're gonna get punched in the face, right? And the reason why I bring that up is because yes, there are moves that are punishable, and there are moves that are like you can use to armor through them. So if I had the life lead and I wanted to kill my opponent, I'm okay with him trying to armor through my gaps because now he spent a bar, so he no longer can break. You know what I'm saying? So now if I do get that initial hit and I hit him with a 50-50 and it works, he no longer can break. So these are the big brain things that you have to think about. Okay, I'm gonna bait my opponent in thinking that I don't understand that he wants to armor here, or I'm baiting him to armor. I want him to come up off his meter. So now I can establish my game as far as in zoning him or as far as in hitting with a 50-50 mix, because a lot of times Quan-Chi's 50-50 mix is kind of hard to react to. And then on top of that, if I didn't go for the 50-50 mix and I kept staggering this into a grab, he's back over there and we're zoning. You get what I'm saying? So it's something to think about and put in your arsenal when it comes to establishing your game plan against your opponent. And then I wanted to show you guys a cool combo. And that right there is the method to learning a new character. I appreciate you guys watching. It's your boy Jay-Z Bottom Lip. I'm out.